How's it going? So I'm just gonna give you a little bit of lead in for this video. Um, this so we had to do two different interviews with Gabe from Careful Gaze. The second one is the one that you can hear on our podcast, like the official one. Now this one is gonna be special because this one is the first one that got effed the frick up. You'll hear my voice is really deep. Something happened to it, and I don't. We were having technical difficulties, and it sounded really weird. I kind of sound like, the guy from Sounds of the Lambs, like, put the lotion in the basket. So that's part of why we didn't use this one. Let's get into it.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for being here. We have our first guest on the podcast. I just want to quickly, before we introduce him, I want to quickly give some accolades real quick. They have released one of my favorite albums. Pat, have you listened to this album yet?
I've listened to all the albums.
Oh my God. I've listened to every single one of their albums. And they first hit with under their current iteration of the band with Wolf and Grade, their first two singles back in 2018. Man, when I tell you that these singles slapped and slapped hard, there is no ifs, ands, or buts around this. They were incredible. Guys, I want you guys to welcome Gabe Reasoner of Careful Gaze. Thunderous applause because I don't have the sound bite. We'll get that sound bite.
I'll applaud myself.
Gabe, how you doing, man?
Time. Good. Thanks for having me on, guys. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks for saying yes.
We're excited to have you.
I was like, what a collab when I found out it was Jordan and Pat. I was like, damn, it's just like power duo.
Power duo.
I would call us a power bottom for sure.
Nice.
We are each a half of one whole butt.
One glorious. Like, you put us together, we are one big butt.
I'm gonna make a sound bite like right here. That's just gonna go. It's gonna be like butt. Right, like right here. It's gonna happen. All right, let's get into this. Let's meet our guest. All right. According to your social media, you released your first singles, like I said before, Wolf and Grade in summer of 2018, and then your first full-length album, You Two Will Rest. All of the songs you've released under Careful Gaze. Which one are you most proud of and why?
I would probably say Rainbows. Just across the board, like in terms of message, in terms of reception, and just in terms of like honestly what it started as versus what it ended up as. Like it started off as kind of a weird, like almost metal song. And so seeing how it like progressed and how we rewrote it like 3 times and where it ended up, it has been very cool. And that one's had the biggest impact, I think, like on our fans. And that's probably
I agree. I think it's one of my favorite songs too, personally. Like there's just something about it. You know, what's the old saying? Like you can make like you can polish a turd all you want and it's still going to be a turd, right? But you can come into the studio with a great song and polish that, and it's phenomenal. I don't know if I'm gonna cuss here on this episode, but it's just incredible. Like you can't make a bad song good, but you can make a good song great. And I think that's what you guys did with Rainbows. If you guys haven't listened to Rainbows yet, you absolutely are sleeping on one of the best gems of the past 3 years. I don't, man, Pat. I don't even know if there's. Like, why do I even do music?
when you gotta compete with such greatness, we just try to hold our own. That's really all it is. Holding our own.
No, I'll hold yours. You hold mine. It'll be better that way. We'll feel comfortable.
We'll feel something.
We'll feel something. All right.
So one of the things I was very curious about, though, Gabe, is that I saw that you were on this thing called Featured X. Can you tell me a little bit about that? What is that?
Yeah, Featured X is basically a platform where people can book features for a variety of vocalists, guitar players, drummers, things like that. There's a lot of your like favorite post-hardcore emo band vocalists are on there. It's a lot of metal. Definitely a lot of like beat down hardcore vocalists are on there. And basically, yeah, what you do is you go on, you propose a project to people, and then those vocalists or artists can respond and choose if they want to take it. And that's basically how you secure your feature. You take out the like awkward emailing back and forth for like 10 times and getting ghosted.
Which anybody in a local band can sit here and attest that emailing, like cold emailing, is the worst thing you can ever freaking do with your time.
Yeah,
it's
sad. It's sad to just get ghosted all day long.
Yeah.
I did like your description though. If you want, it was something about if you want to make people cry, you're the man.
Yeah. You want your song to sound sadder.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys have heard this song yet, but I know that Archers released a song featuring Gabe Reasoner, and I believe that song was that one Composure? I think that one was Composure. No, that one was Shallow.
Oh yeah, Shallow. Yeah,
Shallow. Yeah. Archers released a song called Shallow, and it has one of the best vocal features in the world because Gabe Reasoner decided that he was just gonna, I don't know, up everything that he did. And like, I don't know, man. Every time I listen to that song, and it's not even your band, every time I listen to that song, it's made that much better because you're on it. There's something that I've told Pat this, I've told everybody in Writer Skies this, and we all unanimously agree, man, you have a way with words. And that you don't find that a lot nowadays, especially in like a DIY local or even aspiring like touring band. You don't find that, and it's something that's been lost. I think we lost that decades ago. But when you come in here, it's like you can just feel everything that you're saying, because you don't speak anything without it having a point. And I know that kind of sounds dumb to say, but like, you know how there's just songs out there that they're just fluff, like, all right. Like, I think even like Bo Burnham has a song where it's like, I like your bluish brownish green, like your eyes, they're bluish brownish greenish color or whatever. And it's just because of how vague it needs to be, so that way like anybody can relate to it. Yet you adapt, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you adapt a way of writing that's like, I want to write to one person and have 1,000 people connect to it, rather than write to 1,000 people and nobody connect to it. So give us a little insight on what it is to like, how, like what your process is for writing.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the kind words. I really appreciate that. I think what you said and how you summed it up was pretty correct, as far as like, I want to just make people feel like they have a home in our music and in the words that they hear. And I guess I try to be as relatable and kind of to the point as possible, but without losing the kind of like poetic nature, I guess, of it. I was really into poetry and weird literature as a kid, so I think that probably influenced my style a lot. But then also, I was really into stuff like the Mountain Goats and like folk punk, which is very just literal and very basic in your face lyrics. So I kind of ended up somewhere in between, I think, with that. And as far as my process, a lot of times it starts out as if it is poetry, like I'm just writing the words down with no music, no melody in mind or anything like that. And then I don't actually have that figured out until we write the music and I go in and put it on top of what's already there. Wow. That's what it is a lot of the time. And I think that allows me to have a little bit less boundaries than sometimes, not music in general, but sometimes other bands maybe in our genre or our style have.
Right.
Is I kind of start off with no rules and then fit it to the song as best I can.
Yeah.
I feel that. I like to roll with no rules. I'm the same way when it comes to like writing like melodies or just even like guitar parts, because I can't read music. So I just do. So I feel that I just do.
Yeah. And I think, you know, there's a fine line between, how do I put this without sounding like arrogant or cocky? And I'm not trying to sound like this, but there's a fine line between being like knowing that you're good at something and honestly kind of bullshitting. And like, and I know I had said, I'm not sure if we're going to cuss in this podcast. Apparently we are. That's happening. That's going to happen.
You did it.
I did it. But like, you know, where you can meet these people who, and I've met a couple of them, and I don't even remember their names, but it's like, you talk to them and they kind of give this bullshit answer. You're like, oh, how do you write your music? Well, man, I just, you know, it just kind of comes to me. I want to feel like I want to be moved. And you're like, huh? Because that's not at all like what I heard in your music. You know what I mean? Like there's this persona of like what they say is happening. And then you listen to their music and you're like, how is that possible? And now music is subjective, and I'm not here to sit here and bash somebody, but I just wanted to say that to the merit of how you write your music and how you write your songs, what you said like just a second ago reflects wholeheartedly into your music. Right. Everything, like down to the fact that you may be choking up and crying in your songs, yelling, screaming, anything, and you want to feel that passion. Not only do you end up feeling that passion in the studio, but we get to feel it in our car stereos. And I think there's a huge testament to that form of writing and being able to say that you do it and then execute it absolutely flawlessly.
Thank you. That's awesome to hear. I'm glad it comes through, because I've heard a lot of bands and played with a lot of bands that are kind of like what you're talking about, where they're not completely genuine. And that's just, that's really what we want to do, is just be as genuine as possible and try to like make something that people can go to the show and feel like they got a big hug the whole set, you know, and maybe confronted some like tough emotions and some tough subject matter, but they left feeling like a better person, or at least like they had, you know, their night or day is made better for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can definitely attest to one of the things that you guys excel at is live. Being there live is,
goodness gracious,
it is like it's a whole other ball game.
Yeah,
it's like you can listen to you know, through the stereos and that's great, but when you're there, it's like everybody is just singing along and just screaming their hearts out. It's like going to church.
I remember it was back in like November. Gabe, remember when let's see, it's Careful Gaze, of Brighter Skies, and Archers. We all went on a 3-day weekender. Yep. And we had issues with our van, and I remember us like having like struggling to get to each show, and it broke down in the parking lot of the garage in Minnesota. And I was like, well, fuck, I'm gonna end up spending this whole show trying to fix the van. And I told Alec, I was like, come get me when Careful Gaze goes on, like, because I'm gonna put everything down and I'm gonna go watch the show, because you can't miss it. You can't. Don't fucking do it. Don't miss a Careful Gaze show if you can't.
That was a memorable weekend.
Good times, man. Good times. So, I mean, the point of this whole podcast is, you know, we're trying to make sure that we lift up the people in the DIY music scene. I don't even like saying local, because, you know, there's so many DIY bands out there that tour nationally. So I don't like using the term local very often, so I won't. But you are clearly a part of the DIY national touring group who's trying to make it successfully in the music industry. And the whole point of the podcast is us trying to raise people up, so that way all of our friends can end up making it successful. So we're sitting here looking side to side, just going, where'd all our friends go? Like that's that's literally the whole point of this. So give us a little insight on what your view of the music industry is, and give us some either concrete or maybe a little vague steps that you guys have taken to get to where you are, and also to get to where you want to go.
Yeah. I think we're in a really weird time, and I think it's you could even say like unprecedented times being at
How many times have we heard that in a freaking TV commercial?
Right.
I'm
are
serious.
These are
so
some
many.
unprecedented times.
Right? Like you'll get a spam email like in these trying times.
Uh-huh.
Is it? Thanks. Thanks, billionaire company. I'm real sorry that you're going through something right now.
And now Sarah McLachlan has cornered the market on that.
But I feel like we're definitely at a place where we haven't really been before, and the shutdown was so interesting to continue to kind of grind through and release music, because there's just everybody's putting stuff out, everybody's putting out content, and clearly like no one person can keep up with all of that content from all of the bands that they listen
and especially
to
how much people ended up utilizing TikTok as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and yeah, there was new apps that started doing things for bands like TikTok and stuff like that hadn't really done as much before, and it was just weird to see. So I don't know, like I think the industry, you know, from my very small window to it, is at a very unique spot now that tours and shows are coming back. Obviously, the larger bands are going to get priority. So for bands of our size, it's sort of a trial and error thing right now. It's like we didn't try to book anything. We had a show come to us, thankfully, and like we agreed to do that. We're kind of dipping our toe in the water with some touring plans for the fall, but it all kind of hinges on whether or not there's places that have room for us. Because now things are looking a lot different. As far as like steps we've taken to get there, we've really just tried like pre-pandemic to just get out there, even if it means, you know, you're taking, which this is kind of a cliche thing to say for a lot of bands, but I also find a lot of bands aren't willing to do this. But even if it means, you know, we drive to Santa Fe and literally play a like a large storage unit show, and there's no guarantee, it's just whatever people put in the hat, like that for us was worth it. And I've actually traveled with some bands, for them it was not worth it, and like that's fair, it's not worth it for everybody. But for us it was worth it because we met people, we connected with people, you know, we made enough for gas, and maybe we lost a little bit of money at the end of it, but it was like, for us that's worth it because we are in then maybe like 20 more 50 more people's minds that we weren't before.
Right. And you know, that's one of the things that people often lose sight of is we're in the entertainment industry. Yes, we're trying to make it successful in bands, but when you break everything down, we're in the relationships game. That's all it is. And so whether or not you played to 1,000 people or to 10 people, if you connected with one person, worth it. And I know that might also sound like a cliche, but I don't think it hits home hard enough for a lot of people. I know I used to be there back in some other bands when I felt like I knew it all in the music industry, and then got this massive reality check that no, you fucking don't, you know, like it's just, we're in the relationships game. That's all it is. And the next show you play may have someone who has contacts for you for the next show, and then vice versa and vice versa. So if you're going to sit there and look at a crowd of 10 people and not give your best or not put in the effort, then what's the point? Because you're right. All of a sudden you get, you know, a show with 1,000 people, 10,000 people, and you're just supposed to magically change your personality because that's who you are. It doesn't work like that, you know. And even as we were talking about earlier, when it comes to lyrics, who you are as a person reflects on your music, and it reflects on your band, and it reflects on the relationships that you create, not only within the industry, but outside of the industry. Right. And if you're putting up this facade of we care and you really don't, it ends up collapsing in on itself. And it's just a matter of time. And I think that's one thing that's really special about Careful Gaze is you practice what you preach. You put in the effort, you put in the time, you put in the work, and it's entirely noticeable. And to the point where when I'm listening to it in my speakers, I can feel all of the work, all of the effort, all of the emotion endlessly.
That's awesome. I really appreciate knowing that.
Yeah, of course. And if you guys haven't listened to Careful Gaze yet, you're sleeping on one of the best bands to come out of Minnesota. I was going to say Minneapolis. Are you guys in Minneapolis?
We are, yeah.
Yep.
Technically, okay.
Yeah.
Minnesota. repping the homies. All right, so Gabe, before we let you go here, we had asked for you to pick one of your songs that we can play during the podcast. Now we're only going to play about 15 seconds because let's be honest, sometimes people don't want to hear a whole gosh darn song in the middle of a podcast. So we're going to give you a teaser of Careful Gaze, and this is meant for you guys to pick it up and go listen, follow them. So Gabe, I'm going to ask you what song you're doing, what it means to you, and then I'm also going to ask know your place. Know your place. Excited. Shut up and know your place. You're my no. Anybody who's listening to the podcast is gonna think I'm an absolute asshole, and it's true. So,
that's why your nickname's Bear, because you're a bear to deal with.
I'm a burden. But then, so yeah, tell us about the song. Tell us what it means to you, how you wrote it, and then plug literally all of your social media and what's next for you guys.
Okay, I can do that. I got so excited to yell the title in my stage voice. So this song's called Next Dark Dawn. It's our latest single, and what it means to us, it's kind of a bittersweet love song about like the state of the world and where everything has been, and kind of like dreaming that you could just like escape with your loved ones to a different place, and also realizing you can't, and that you have to try to like make the most of what you have here. So that's what the song's about. It will forever be special to me because it's the last song that we recorded as a trio, when right before everything stopped and like our tours got canceled and stuff. Our drummer quit, and there was a period of time where it was just Aslan, Preston, and I writing music together throughout the pandemic. And that was like a really special bonding time for us. And this was the last song that we wrote, the three of us, and recorded the three of us. So it's kind of a place in the Careful Gaze history. It's like a little bookmark, I would say.
Yeah.
And we recorded it at Black Apple Studios in Minneapolis. And it's kind of just like a summer jam. And you can find it anywhere. You can find it on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, all of that stuff. So streaming's super helpful. Just listen to it for free, honestly. And we are at Careful Gaze on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We're on Facebook. You can go to carefulgaze.com. Last thing I'll say is we have a show August 5th at 7th Street Entry in Minneapolis with Coyote Kid and Happy Birthday, Mr. Baskets. First time we've played since March of 2020. And we are going
March
to
1st, I'll bet, huh?
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
We're gonna do the same one, right?
What's that?
Is that the same one?
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
We played at was it Whiskey Junction?
Whiskey, yep. We played a couple times there in short succession. I couldn't remember if you were on that one or the one before, but yeah. So March 1st was the last one, and we've got a full 5-piece lineup now, and I think I can speak for us all when I say we'll probably do everything we can to make the floor shake as much as possible the whole night. So we hope to see anybody that can make it out there. It'll be a fun time.
Awesome, man. Well, we're really happy that you decided to come on this podcast. We can't thank you enough.
Yeah.
Everybody, this song is Next Dark Dawn by Careful Gaze.
It slaps.
Thanks for making it this far, and we gave you a little clip of Next Dark Dawn, but since this podcast was done a year ago, they put out some bangers since then. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pop their new part of their new video in there. So you can check that one out as well. And then make sure you go check out their catalog. And thanks so much for checking out all of these From the Vault videos. They've been fun going through, and like I said, my voice in this one, it's funny. Oh gosh, this was cringy, and thanks for cringing through it with us. See you next week. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like and subscribe. Thank you to those who already are. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Music, or anywhere else you stream your podcast. If you're in the position to help us grow, head over to our Patreon at www.patreon.com/unsignedpoppunk. Let us know in the comments below who you'd like to see on the show and what other content you'd like to see. Thanks so much.